Hey y'all, what's up? This is Neena Perez, and this is Straight Talk, No Sugar Added. And you know that we are here to grow, challenge, and transform your thinking. And the way I do that is I find the best humans on the planet to bring them on here to discuss real life topics to help you transform and just really grow the way you think. So today I found for you Dr. Donna Chacko, and she is the author of the award-winning Pilgrimage, A Doctor's Healing Journey. She's a wife, a mother, and a grandma. I love being a grandma. It's the best thing ever. She practiced medicine for decades, first as a radiation oncologist and later as a family medicine doctor, caring for the poor in Washington, D.C. I love that. So she has now worked in ministry. She has founded Serenity and Health, and she speaks and offers programs and blogs to encourage the health of the body, the mind, and the spirit based on the foundation of faith. And I love all of that, Donna. I believe for me, as an adult, finding my faith was one of the most powerful things that has ever happened in my life. It transformed my mind. It transformed everything about my life. So Donna, thank you so much for taking the time to be here. I appreciate you.
Oh, I'm very happy to be able to do it, Nina. Nice to meet you also.
Yes, it's so great. I love having different types of conversations. My audience knows about my faith. I'm a Christian. I'm not afraid of it. That's what I am, and I love who I am. And I like having all of these different types of discussions because I think that it really makes the human, the person, well-rounded in every area, right? So before we get started into this beautiful conversation and journey, Donna, tell us a little bit more about who you are.
Well, I'm from Portland, Oregon. Married kind of young, went to medical school, practiced medicine for many years, had 3 daughters with my husband. We had a tough marriage, and really that was the source of a great deal of pain and difficulty for me, but also a source of great learning. It helped me come back to God and my faith. And
Mm,
several years after that, he died. And then I've just continued on my journey, my faith journey. But it's just so surprising how much all of my subsequent experiences change how I look at health. I see it in a
mm.
broader way, and I went on my own journey to try and find my own serenity and health after many years working too many hours and too much stress,
Yeah, I bet.
so many people. So I finally found my way. And after I retired, I put it all together in my book. It's given me a lot of satisfaction, and I learned a lot, by doing that
Mhm.
about my.
Mhm. Yeah, you do, right? I wrote an autobiography as well, and it was very cathartic for me. It helped me a lot, and so I really can resonate with what you're saying. So when you were doing the oncology work, you weren't really practicing a faith at that time?
Not really. I was raised as a Catholic. In fact, went to Catholic school through high school, and I had really good parents. But we did not talk about anything. We did not talk about God. We never prayed ever.
Mhm.
And uh, for maybe it just didn't sink in very well. And plus, I just was too busy and didn't have my priorities straight. I just kind of trying to survive working,
Yeah.
and I just kind of let it drift. So I occasionally went to church, but there was no active really faith or relationship or deep trust or anything. Not what I needed,
Mhm.
not what
Mhm.
God wanted me to do. But thank God He's understanding of these things.
Yeah. Thank God is right, Donna. I always say that. I'm like, God, thank you so much for your patience. Oh, oh, there you are.
Wait a moment.
You bumped out and bumped back in. I often, do say to God, that I'm very grateful for his patience
Oh,
with us.
oh, absolutely. I mean, especially when you ignore him many years and then come back and
Yeah.
you feel so welcomed. I mean, not
Yeah.
just welcomed by God, by Jesus, but by if as I was fortunate enough to eventually go back to a church to be welcomed by
Yeah.
a community. Uh,
Yeah.
it was very life-giving.
It is life-giving. So I want to talk about the work that you're doing now because you founded Serenity and Health. And I wanted to know, how you're blending those two. How are you blending, that serenity, that health, and encouraging people? How did you do that?
Yeah. Well, it came from a lot from uh, it grew from my own experience because I had a lot of, I realized just stress and emotional junk and difficult relationship that I was dealing with. And, you're not in a place of serenity when you're doing
Right.
that. It's not healthy. It's so stressful. And that just devastates health, all kinds of stress, as most
Hmm.
people know, maybe, or maybe not, but it's doing it. Um, and so as I continued on my spiritual journey, I became closer to God. I slowed down. I finally gave him time and space in my life, and I learned about different forms of prayer. This is my own personal journey. Like
Hmm.
for the first time I started, um, I researched as part of Serenity and Health meditation. I had been reluctant. It's like
Hmm.
mindfulness also. I had been like, I don't know, hesitant to consider those kinds of things. I don't know. I guess
Hmm.
they were strange. But the more I learned, I realized, my goodness gracious, this is really vital
Hmm.
to serenity and health, and to learn the deep roots in Christianity for a meditative, quiet, or contemplative prayer. I was just flabbergasted.
Hmm.
I started doing those things, and I experienced changes. So um, I just and I saw in working in Washington also how the mind body spirit connection, that was really dramatic to see, Nina, how
Right.
it's kind of like you know we're one person, but we're mind, body, and spirit, and sometimes the ailments can get all tangled up with each other, mind, body, and spirit.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
it's kind of really difficult to get untangled, but folks can, in the right environment with some love and respect, find hope and start healing really independent of specific medical care. I mean, remember seeing like young immigrants due to the country, and just imagine a woman, Maria, new, just comes to this country, barely speaks English, living in the corner of her auntie's living room,
Hmm.
coming to the clinic every few weeks with various complaints, feeling terrible, headaches, insomnia, anxiety, heartburn, um, just not knowing what she was going to do. And we tried to help. We had a great counselor to try and help, and social worker, help these folks get adjusted. But this particular lady, then I didn't see her for 6 months. And when she came back, she looked like an entirely new person. And what had happened was she had started a charter school for ESL, for learning English, and she made friends. And she was learning English,
That's awesome.
found hope, and really all of her ailments went away.
Wow.
You see, I saw that over and over again.
Hmm. Hmm.
And same thing in this medical recovery facility for homeless people, which was really a very sacred place to work. It was
Hmm.
called Christ House, in fact. And these many, mostly men, would come in off the streets or discharged from the hospital, but with no place to go to, so they would come to Christ House. And really, for some of them, like the first time they'd ever had like a clean, warm bed with
Oh,
sheets, and then somebody to treat them with love and respect. The staff was
right.
incredible, and they would start healing before they had any medical care.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I learned all these things, and then I just tried to put together a program to um, and it started, it is still, it's a small program. I occasionally have groups at church or something like that. So it started off with a 6-week group of people who wanted to participate if they were feeling, stuck in some way, just felt crummy, tired, anxious, the way we all are at some
Yeah.
time,
Yeah.
and trying to determine what path they would want to follow to help themselves to feel better, addressing any or all of these things, mind, body, spirit. And there was frequently a theme that one of the biggest problems was just stress,
Yeah.
busy mind, worrying, anxious. And, this started pre-COVID. And of course, now it's much worse. And so in the programs, yes, in what I write and what I do, I talk about eating habits and exercise habits, but I talk a lot more about all the stuff in the mind because,
Yeah.
if your mind's all going a mile a minute and you're on the treadmill, you're not going to have much clarity or motivation
That's true.
to fix your eating habits or your exercise habits. So,
Yeah.
um, spend a lot of time on trying to understand what a mindfulness would be, staying in the moment so that we can calmly respond to a stressor instead of reacting,
Yeah.
um, and learning about Christian meditation to try and uh, again be more in the moment
Yeah.
with God. And there's so much research about the science research about the changes in the brain from meditation. And it just, when I started thinking about health and faith, it was like, wow, that's so amazing, that
Right.
we pray this type of prayer to be close with our Lord. And then there's all these health benefits. Like that's like a bonus.
Right. Isn't that amazing? That's so good. I love that though. I love that you're putting the two together because they are together, right? I think a lot of our, like you even pointed out, right? A lot of our ailments are from our mind, are from the stresses we add to our nervous system, to our body, that
Mhm.
we don't realize. It's funny because I was seeing a naturopath recently, because I have a couple of autoimmune conditions that are really, kicking my behind. And and she's like, so having any stress lately? Because it's all connected, right? It's all connected. So one of the things that I try to do purposefully, and I tell my kids to do as well, and my husband, is like, as soon as they start to get stressed, like you said, like your mind just keeps going, we unplug, we turn off the TV, the phone, we turn off, we everything gets shut down, and
Um,
we might play meditation music on the background so we could pray. And I think what the work you're doing is really, really important, right? Because a lot of us don't know how to be quiet in our minds, or we don't know how to focus. Maybe you don't have to be completely quiet, but maybe you can focus on a prayer, you know
right.
focus on your breathing, instead of all of the stuff that we all have. Donna, we all have it, right? I'm sure that I'm
I-
sure that you have to do it too.
Oh, absolutely. And it might not be a prayer in the traditional sense. It might be a walk in a forest or a walk down
Hmm.
your block, or a long bath where you can uh, quiet your mind. I mean, I've often thought as I look back, because sometimes you look back and you go, I wonder what I could have done differently to
Hmm.
avoid things, uh, and if I think about just one thing that I might have done differently, it would have been to prioritize some little time for reflection and time for me and time for God.
Yeah.
And otherwise we're not mindful that we're stressed. We're not mindful that we're contributing to a crummy relationship. We don't even see our part.
Right.
We're not mindful that we're on this treadmill. Why are we, for what reasons again?
Yeah.
Because we just, it's hard. We're carrying all these balls. We just have to keep going or something will
Yeah.
fall.
Yeah. Yeah, right. And it's even when you're saying that, I almost feel the exhaustion that comes from that, right? The exhaustion that comes from juggling these balls all the time, and trying to, what are we running for? What are we trying to win? Where are we going? And I think it's important, Donna, that we do pause for a second. And I believe in God. I very strongly believe in God because He has saved my life many times. So I strongly believe. And I've done my research, and I got into theology and all that great stuff because I enjoy it. I love it, and I love the relationship that it brings in my life. But this pause that you're doing, this serenity that you're doing, I think is something the world really, really needs, Donna, because we are running at a mile a minute. And now with social media and all that stuff, we don't pause. There is no pause. There's just swipe, swipe all the time. And I mean, how do we get that back? Or what would you tell someone that you're, working with, or somebody in your group? How do you think somebody should start? Like, what would be the first step for them?
Well, this is kind of the cool thing, I think, because we're mind, body, and spirit. We can start anywhere we're called, and
Mm,
I think quiet time is really key and should be high on that list, if not the first. But maybe for some people, they are away from a faith and they don't have an active prayer life, but they feel all these crummy things we're talking about.
mm-hmm,
So maybe for them, it would be walking or some form of movement that they can accomplish with their body, because sometimes just starting small, a tiny step, if you have no exercise in your daily routine, you have to start slow, but set a small goal. Maybe you're just going to walk 1 block each morning, or maybe you're just going to have to do it on the weekend if you're too busy. Maybe you're going to go an
mm-hmm.
hour walk every Saturday. Whatever it is, set a small goal and try and do it, and then you'll be rewarded by accomplishing it and feel good about it, and then you will continue. And the thing is, an exercise program, if continued, gives you mental clarity. It does lift your mood. You may
Mm,
find then the ability or the hope to make other changes. Maybe you will then understand that you need to give God some time, or maybe you will understand, like, wow, I really have a crummy eating habits. That's what I saw.
like
How
awareness.
one thing
Mm-hmm.
leads to another. It's like a not vicious cycle, a positive cycle. One thing leads to another, and the unfortunate thing is it goes the other way also,
Mm-hmm.
the negative cycle. So, like, and we're all familiar with this. If uh, say your knees start hurting, so you kind of stop walking, and then you sit around more, and then you eat more, and then you gain some more weight, and then your knees hurt more, but then you're really depressed, and it feels terrible. We've all
Yeah.
had little cycles like this.
Mm-hmm.
So, in answer to your step, I think we're all different on what is our first step, but you got to see a change. You have to make a change. You have to start somewhere. So if you don't know what to do at all, I say start with,
Movement.
I'm going to call it prayer, but your quiet reflection time. And for me, I've used a Christian meditative prayer called centering prayer. And if you like, I can give you a link, Neena, to put
I would love that.
show notes for people to look it up if they're interested and to see
Mm-hmm.
how to do it. It's been wonderful for
Do
me.
you have the name for it, or you want to email it to me?
The prayer name is centering prayer. The
Oh,
place
it is called centering. Okay.
centering prayer, but the website where they have all the information is called contemplativeoutreach.org, and you have to go there to the practice session, and they list various types of prayers. It's a really great site, actually.
Great. I'll make sure to put that in the show notes. Because those who are listening are probably like, wow, I need to do this, right? I speak to a lot of entrepreneurs and leaders and stuff, and we're constantly running. You're just constantly running.
Running.
And the truth is you can't separate you from you. You can't separate you from business, you from, health, you from all of that. So I always tell people, like, you're trying to separate what you do as an entrepreneur and then what you do at a family life. And the truth is you're still you, right? And so what you're saying, Donna, is let's take care of you, and let's look for that connection either with God or with some peace and serenity in your life, so that then you can start to affect all of the other things in your life, right?
Right,
It's
right,
that positive cycle that you're
right,
talking about.
right. And
That's
I
really
and I
good.
and I emphasize the faith part because it helps in so many regards
Yeah.
that way. I mean,
Yeah.
if you have a trusting relationship with God, and you work at that, and you start giving him some time, trusting him with your time, trusting him with some small decisions. Um, I mean, that's the greatest stress buster ever,
Yeah.
to be able to trust our God. And
Mhm.
then think about this, our health in our bodies, it's such an incredible gift. We are temples of the Holy
So
Spirit.
true. Yeah.
And I think that it's our responsibility as Christians to care for our bodies as best we can.
Yeah.
And I think it should be a great incentive to work on the more specific health habits, like how much exercise do we get, and what kind of diet do we eat, and are we smoking anything, and how much screen time we have. Because Neena, I know for a fact, based on my own experience and what I have read, that 70% of chronic illness could be cured or improved by us changing how we live our lives and our habits.
I believe that.
And
I believe that.
that
Yeah.
way more patients that came to see me for those 15-minute visits. They had way more power over their health than I ever did.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's not true for the major things, of course. If there's cancer, or we need doctors, we need all the wonderful
Right.
technology we have. But chronic illness is rising in frequency in
Yeah.
the country, and I think God would be happy if we stepped up and worked at it a little bit.
Yeah.
We did. I mean,
Yeah.
no guarantees, of course. We're not
Yeah.
guaranteed a suffering-free life, that's for sure.
That's for sure. But you know what, Donna? It's funny because it's true. Like, chronic illness is on a rise, but so is mental illness.
Oh, yes. Okay.
Right? So
Yes,
there's like a big link there, isn't
absolutely.
there? Yeah, because
Absolutely.
even as you said that, I'm like, oh, and so is mental illness because, like you said, right? It's about that serenity piece. It's about that connection piece. It's about that peace.
Mhm.
That being intentional about what it is that you want to bring to your life.
Mhm.
I agree with all of that. I mean, what I know when I am not in a very good um physical space in my life is because I'm not in a good mental space in my life. And so, I'm definitely changed things around and I'm definitely, on the right track, but it is not an easy thing, but it is a necessity,
Right.
right? Because it's actually also not an easy thing to constantly be ill, to constantly have chronic illness, right? What the issue is that we get used to our body feeling that way, feeling ill, feeling sick, feeling like, down or depressed, or we get used to that and it starts to become the cycle that we do, even if it's vicious,
Right.
right? So
Right.
I like what you said before, because you said, even if you go for a walk, even if you just stay quiet for a second, because I believe also that first step is movement, right? So even when I don't feel like it, and Donna, there are days that I just don't feel like it, okay? But I'll do it anyway, right? So I'll say to myself, okay, Neen, so you're going to sit here and then feel bad because you didn't go when you had a chance, or you're going to get your behind up and you're going to go, right?
Right.
So then I go because that's the choice I have to
Right.
make in
Choice
order to feel better. I
choice
agree with you.
choice and intention are terribly big and little steps. But you know what? I do want to mention one thing, because I don't want anybody to think that they are unhealthy or suffering because they're not doing it right in terms of their
Right,
faith. They're not praying right. They're not praying
right.
enough. God doesn't like them, or they're
Yeah, I don't think you ever said that.
not enough. We have enough
Mhm.
guilt and problems in this world, and this is no prosperity type gospel where you're guaranteed health and
Right,
vigor forever if you
right.
only
I wish.
exercise right. It doesn't work like that,
Does
and
not.
and and, and these changes are difficult. Lifestyle changes, habit changes. We have What I learned on my journey was I was driven in several ways from the time I was a child to live a certain way that wasn't always good for me or my family. But I didn't
Mhm,
even know that I was driven that way, like to work,
mhm,
for
mhm,
example. Um,
mhm.
and maybe if I had slowed down a little bit, I might have realized. But the point being, it's not easy. And it's
Right.
a step-by-step approach. It may happen when you're 20, it may happen when you're older. I am started to figure things out a bit better when I got a lot older. I have a long ways to go. But it's real comfortable, by the way, knowing, at least I know my path now and my direction
Yeah.
and my guide, and
Yeah.
life is a lot simpler in that respect. And I really appreciate my faith for that. And that's another health benefit, because when you have a purpose in life, and you're a satisfaction that you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, that those sorts of things add what's called resilience. And that
Yeah.
means we can adapt to stressors. And if you have less reaction to stressors, you're healthier. So once again, you see how faith contributes to health and
Yeah.
serenity, for sure.
I love that. I love that so much, Donna. I'm so grateful for you to come on here and share all of these beautiful nuggets of wisdom with my people, with me. There's a lot I'm going to take away from this. So I want to make sure that I give them the information they need to follow you. So if you can let my people know, like your site, or how people can, follow you, support you, all that great stuff, I'd really appreciate that.
All right. Well, I'd be honored to do that. I love to hear from people. I tried to write all of this up by telling my own story in its very messy details in my early life. And my book is called Pilgrimage: A Doctor's Healing Journey. And it's meant for me to tell my story and what I learned, and then to help you find your path to serenity and health also. And that's available on Amazon and Barnes and Noble. Now, my website is serenityandhealth.com, 3 words, serenityandhealth.com.
I
And
love
if you
it.
go there, there is more information about my book, and you can request a free first chapter if you like. Um, and you can, I would love it if you sign up for my blog. It comes once a month. Um, I don't send a lot of stuff out. And if you sign up, I'll send you 3 keys to a holy, happy, and healthy life.
I love it. Oh, Donna, I love it. And then the other one, guys, that she told us about was contemplativeoutreach.org. Contemplativeoutreach.org. And that was for the centering prayer.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for that, Donna, that information. And thank you for everything that you're doing. I am truly grateful for what you're doing, because I know it is needed. It is needed. So thank you. I'm going to sign up for that blog, and I
Yeah.
hope all of you guys who are listening are going to be doing the same, because I love your energy, Donna, and I love what you're bringing to the table. So thank you so much for being on Straight Talk and sharing this with my people. I really appreciate it.
It's my pleasure. And I'd love to hear from you or anybody through my website or my email. So,
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Donna.
all
And
right.
guys, thank you so much for spending time with us. Wasn't she wonderful? I told you I find the best humans on the planet. I wasn't kidding. So make sure that you follow Donna. Go on to serenityandhealth.com and make sure you follow her, and sign up for her blog and support the work that she is doing, because we do need this, guys. We do need serenity. We need health in our lives. We want to move forward, right? If you're going to be awake tomorrow, then let's make tomorrow like the best day, right? And so every tomorrow should be the best. Thank you guys for being here and being a part of this. This is Neena Perez, Straight Talk, no sugar added. Until next time.